Beneath the shining promise of a sustainable, budget-friendly Los Angeles 2028 Olympics lies a hidden tension. An ambitious no-build plan that may either set a new standard for future games or risk unraveling under the weight of its own challenges. The decision to repurpose existing venues and infrastructure, dubbed the no-build approach, has sparked debate. Proponents argue this strategy avoids the financial traps that plagued past Olympics, like in Rio and Athens. However, critics claim it masks deeper issues, such as rising costs, gentrification, and environmental impacts. The pledge to avoid new construction may sound ideal, but the reality is more complex. With Los Angeles aiming for a $6.9 billion budget and significant upgrades underway, locals question whether the supposed benefits will truly reach their communities. As preparations continue, the games face criticisms over potential risks. Will LA 2028 be a model of sustainability or a repeat of past Olympic blunders? While officials claim that the games will be privately funded, history tells a different story. Every Olympics since 1960 has surpassed its budget, often by over 170%. If LA 2028 experiences similar cost overruns, the financial burden could fall on taxpayers. With a $615 million contingency fund in place, there is still a risk that the game's final costs could exceed initial estimates by billions. Local services and infrastructure projects may suffer as funds are diverted to cover unexpected expenses. Now, as LA prepares for the 2028 Olympics, officials are ramping up security measures, which include a significant increase in policing and surveillance. The security operation is projected to be one of the largest in the city's history, involving collaborations with federal agencies and extensive use of surveillance technologies like facial recognition, drones, and AI-based monitoring systems. While aimed at ensuring safety, these measures raise concerns about privacy and potential overreach. Critics emphasize that the brunt of this increased policing will likely be felt in marginalized neighborhoods near event venues, such as Englewood and South LA, where residents have already noticed a stronger police presence since construction began. Activists argue that this trend could lead to racial profiling, harassment, and unnecessary confrontations, disproportionately affecting communities of color. The concern extends beyond the Olympics, as such measures often become permanent, contributing to the broader militarization of urban spaces. Past Olympic host cities, including Rio and London, experienced similar outcomes, where heightened security led to long-term surveillance infrastructure that continued affecting residents long after the games ended. Many worry LA will follow this trajectory, leaving a legacy of increased surveillance rather than just temporary safety measures. Los Angeles is notorious for its traffic, and the 2028 Olympics are expected to worsen the situation. The city's plan to upgrade public transportation might alleviate some issues, but there's skepticism about whether it can handle the influx of spectators. Projects like Sepulveda Pass Express lanes and Purple D-Line expansion are underway, but their completion in time for the games is uncertain. The anticipated surge in rideshare services and private vehicles could result in severe gridlock, affecting daily commuters. In addition to this, there are promises of community investment, which are a part of the LA 2028 narrative, with plans to allocate $160 million to local sports programs before the games. However, many residents feel that these benefits are too little too late. The allocation is a fraction of the overall budget, and locals argue that it won't offset the broader impacts of the games, such as increased living costs and displacement. Community groups have called for more substantial investments in affordable housing, public spaces, and long-term resources. LA 2028 organizers have faced criticism for a lack of transparency in planning. While the city claims the games will be cost-neutral, details on how budgets will be managed and spent remain vague. Community meetings have been limited, with many residents feeling excluded from the decision-making process. The lack of clear communication fuels distrust, making residents wary of potential economic and social fallout. The city's failure to disclose detailed cost projections and funding sources adds to the controversy. As seen in previous host cities, preparations for the Olympics often involve aggressive sweeps of homeless encampments, with over 40,000 people experiencing homelessness in LA. Advocates fear that the games will prompt more displacement. Critics argue that instead of addressing the root causes of homelessness, the city is more focused on presenting a clean image for the global event. A removal of encampments may only exacerbate the crisis, pushing unhoused individuals into less visible but more dangerous conditions. While the 2028 Los Angeles Olympics is expected to draw large crowds, local small businesses near venues face significant challenges. Increased security, road closures, and restricted access often disrupt daily operations, deterring regular customers. Business owners around key sites like SoFi Stadium and the Intuit Dome are concerned about temporary losses in revenue, as limited foot traffic and heightened police presence makes areas less accessible. Moreover, rising rents and increased competition for commercial space are already putting pressure on small businesses, with property values near Olympic sites often surging. Some owners fear being priced out before they can benefit from the event's tourism. Even the expected influx of visitors doesn't guarantee a boost in sales, as tourists tend to frequent chain stores over local establishments, limiting financial gains for smaller businesses. Experiences from past Olympics in cities like London and Rio show that many small businesses suffer revenue losses due to prolonged disruptions, struggling to regain stability after the game. In LA, local entrepreneurs worry that potential increase in sales may be short-lived, failing to compensate for months of disruptions. While the Olympics promise broader economic growth, the reality for small businesses could be different, with temporary benefits overshadowed by long-term challenges. Hosting a summer event in a region prone to wildfires poses significant risks. The Olympics are scheduled for July during the peak of wildfire season in California. Heat waves, droughts, and smoke from nearby fires could impact both athletes' performance and spectator attendance. The added strain on water and energy resources, combined with rising temperatures, raises questions about whether LA's infrastructure can support such a large-scale event safely. The 2028 Los Angeles Olympics no-build strategy aims to use existing structures to reduce environmental impact. However, this approach has sparked criticism from environmentalists and residents. Major venues like SoFi Stadium and Intuit Dome have already contributed significantly to air and noise pollution in areas like Inglewood. While these venues were planned independently of the games, their accelerated construction has amplified pollution levels in a community already affected by poor air quality due to its proximity to major freeways and LAX. Hosting year-round events, these massive venues add to LA's carbon footprint through increased vehicle emissions and waste generation. Residents argue that the city's public transportation infrastructure, which often prioritizes tourist routes, remains insufficient to handle the projected Olympic crowds. This could result in even more traffic congestion, counteracting sustainability goals. Additionally, the energy demands during the games could strain the city's renewable energy capacity, potentially leading to reliance on traditional carbon-heavy energy sources. Waste management presents another challenge. While organizers have pledged to implement composting and recycling programs, similar initiatives have fallen short in past Olympics due to logistical hurdles. Concerns about single-use plastics, food waste, and general refuse remain significant. Noise pollution from ongoing events at these venues also disrupt local communities, particularly during nights and weekends, with mitigation measures proving largely ineffective. For many Inglewood residents, the no-build strategy feels like greenwashing, as it focuses more on optics rather than on tangible sustainability. The influx of tourists and event-goers during the Olympics is expected to worsen pollution and congestion, adding stress to communities already burdened by environmental issues. Despite the sustainability branding, the environmental impact of the 2028 Olympics may still be substantial, revealing the limitations of a no-build approach in a city already grappling with pollution. And finally, the Olympics are often catalysts for gentrification, and LA 2028 is no exception. Inglewood and surrounding neighborhoods have seen skyrocketing rents and a surge in real estate development, pushing out long-term, lower-income residents. The city's no-build approach may not involve new venues, but the Olympic-driven demand for housing and infrastructure has led to the displacement of residents, many of whom are Black and Latino. Critics argue that prioritizing infrastructure upgrades over affordable housing perpetuates social inequities. While the 2028 LA Olympics promise an ambitious no-build approach, the game's potential benefits come with significant risks. From environmental concerns to social impacts, these controversies highlight the complex challenges of hosting one of the world's largest events. Whether the city can deliver a sustainable, inclusive Olympics or ends up repeating past mistakes remains to be seen. What's certain is that the true cost of the 2028 Games will extend well beyond the closing ceremony. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell for more updates.